Hi, in this mission we are going to go to the moon with the Spaceplane. It would be more efficient to start it vertically because it has enough thrust to go up. But I kept this horizontal start because it's a Spaceplane. Actually it cannot turn the nose up until it goes out at the end of the runway because the control surfaces cannot move the nose. They can just move the tail up and down. There is the concrete there, so it cannot go down. That's why I had to wait until it cleared the runway. Fortunately, there is a little bit space there, so I could rotate it correctly. So, as usual, Spaceplanes, we have to keep it in the atmosphere for quite long. A little bit re-entry effects there, but not that serious. And the rest of is just throttling back the engines to avoid the problems of asymmetric thrust or shutdown. My experience, if you throttle it back, they still provide a lot of thrust, at least more than the single nuclear engine could, even in this throttled back setting. And finally we are just starting to push the apoapsis far away. That means that finally we are going to orbit. Here is the moon. But we have to wait another lap around the planet. So yeah, this is like say with the Spaceplane. Throttling back. At the higher altitudes, it's just a little bit of thrust to compensate for the atmospheric drag. Otherwise, really no thrust needed anymore because the apoapsis is high enough. Usually I like it around 80 kilometers or even lower, but in this case I kept the 80. I think it was around 80, a little bit more. Yeah, finally, I think the engines are dead now. Well, not actually dead, I just turned them off because they were not needed anymore, or above 50 kilometers. There's too little drag there to compensate. Actually, they are too powerful, even the most throttled back setting. So yeah, just circularize. And then just need to set a maneuver node to an encounter with the moon. Just turn the lights on the cockpit because there will be a lot of times when it's dark and I want to see the plane. It's too bad that there is no stock possibility to add some aircraft lights because it's that dark this way. And yes, admitted, the aircraft look better with those lights. You just know that they have to have these blinking lights, the navigation lights. Yeah, that's nice to have. But because I build completely stock craft, I had to miss out that. Just preparing for the inclination change after this translunar injection, and yeah, going there. Yeah, plane now. You can see that the orbit is actually under the surface of the moon, so I have to correct it. So when everything is fine, just start the braking maneuver and you can get a almost circular orbit. But because my current goal is the dark side. I wanted to wait a little, so I just create an orbit with 50 kilometers apoapsis. And I will circularize to 50 kilometers, 52, I think it was 52, just to be above the time acceleration limit. Yeah, so here's the other side, around 52, and just accelerate until you see the crater, which has the easiest Mun Arch on the equator. So there it is. Try to change the inclination to match it, the higher orbit, because it's cheaper. So just a little bit of braking to get a lower orbit from where I can do my approach to the Mun Arch. Landing gears down. On my approach, and just starting to brake now. Just too fast, and some course corrections. So just lengthening my path a little bit to arrive to the correct point. And somewhat intentionally ending up too soon, but it's a good point to land, because there is a slope which can guarantee that my nose is pointing up. So I will leave the surface pointing up, because without atmosphere there is no way to turn the nose up, just with the engine. So finally landed, and take out jab to the arch and plant the flag. Yeah, it was not a perfect landing. And let's go back to the aircraft. And from this point onward it's easy pie. Just go to the hatch, go inside. Let's turn to the left and take off. Trying to get around equatorial orbit. Burning mostly horizontally, as in any airless planet. It's the most efficient to go into orbit. So circularize, then try to find a point to go back. At this point, there is not much fuel left, but there is just enough to land at the Kerbal Space Center to put back the focus to the aircraft from the moon. So around 45 degrees, the efficient point with the lowest delta V to the atmosphere of Kerbin. So started the burn a little bit early to be in time, and put the periapsis to 41 kilometers, so that there will be a efficient way to do the aerobraking. After the first pass, I checked the inclination. Unfortunately, there are no display capabilities of the program to show the inclination, but you can see it. So at the far point, I corrected the inclination. It's the most effective. And let's go to another pass in the atmosphere. I pumped the fuel to the forward so that the aircraft is more stable, because it's a long aircraft, and when the fuel runs out, it will be slightly unstable. But it's a compromise, because otherwise it cannot take off. It's too stable to take off. So this pumping helps during the approach. It's not really important in the aerobraking process, but during the final approach it's important. I noticed that there are two debris. I don't know what it is at this point, but I had a hunch that there is some bug again loose. And soon I will discover that those two are the tail fins which broke off from the aircraft. And this is a usual bug that happens in 0.25, that during approach I lose wing surfaces from space planes. Nothing helps, not even reloading. What helps is just restart. So this happened now, but the tail fin are not that important, so I just let them there and continue the aerobraking to get a lower orbit. So finally, with the remaining fuel, I can do circular orbit to my standard 72 kilometers. From that, I can put my usual braking maneuver in progress. Just this time, move the periapsis a little bit to the west, because this is a plane and it's hard to calculate where it will exactly land, because there is some lift on the body and on the wings, so it will go somewhat farther than other non-lifting bodies. So this time the periapsis is just a little bit east from this peninsula. Normally it's more to the east, but it's not a problem if I'm too short, because it has two engines and a lot of fuel left. I can even use the remaining rocket fuel by pumping it to the two fuel tanks just next to the engines. But I didn't need that, and I didn't want that, because it causes some unstable behavior, because moves the center of gravity more to the back, you can see that the tail fin are missing. Continue my approach. I realize that I'm too short and I almost hit the mountains, but try my best with maxing the engines to just clear them, and it happened successfully as I wanted it. And the rest is just throttling back and half glide to the runway. By conserving fuel, but you don't need to conserve that much because there is plenty left. This is Frisbee radar. How do you read? Loud and clear, 5x5. So yeah, I'm very close, and I thought the usual bug will happen, and actually it did happen. In just a few seconds it will. Landing gear down. One of the wing surfaces exploded, and now the others. But fortunately, I can land with just the engines. And if it crashed, I could have seen in the crash report that these wing surfaces collided with the launch pad or some other building. Sometimes there is even some explosion on the building, and there can be flames seen. But not now. It's just the aircraft that got damaged. Fortunately, I managed to put it down even without wings. So thanks for watching. Bye.